Hello, my name is Apostle Rita Tandoh from All Nations Praise Ministries in the United States, Virginia. And this is my testimony. I was born into a family of 5 girls, and I was born in Adabraka, Ghana, West Africa. My mother told me that when she was pregnant with me, she wasn't ready for me. So after the birth of my older sister, I'm the second, she became pregnant and she felt like it was too early, too soon to have another baby. So she tried everything to abort the baby. And she said, my father did not want a baby at that time. Between my sister and I, we are 2 years exactly, like she's 3rd October, I'm 4th October, 2 years difference. So you can tell somebody who just came from the village or the town, she's in the city and she's trying to make a life for herself. And she has joined her husband in Accra, and he did not want a baby, so she did everything. And she said after doing all the local things she knows to do, when I wasn't coming out, at that time, there was an injection that the military people give. And that, when you take it, the baby has to come out. So she said she tried that one too, but I didn't come out. So she ended up giving birth to me at 7 months, premature. And as she described me, she told me I was like an ant. I was just so tiny and so ugly that, nobody really wanted me. So I grew up being called ugly. Fun fun. That's the Ghana language. That's how they describe something ugly. And as I was growing up as a teenager, I still met people who asked, is this fun fun? So moving forward, I was here. She said, I fell off the bed. I was sick. A lot of things were happening to me. As a matter of fact, out of the 5 girls, I was the only one who was having so many problems. When we talk about every sickness, it was me. I had asthma, getting boils every day, huge ones. I had skin problems, which we will talk about as we go, because that happened after my secondary school. I felt rejected because my mother made me know that she didn't want me. And we moved from Adabraka to Kokomlemle near Sadisco. And at that time, I was so sick. And when the asthma started, she didn't know it was asthma. My father was really into fetish things a lot. He really, he would take us to this fetish place, take us there, because he had a workshop. So I think he was doing all this to protect himself and to protect his family, which, a lot of parents do because they think they are helping you. But coming to know the Lord, we know that it wasn't all that good for us. But thank God for the blood of Jesus. And thank God for Jesus, who has changed our stories and has made us better people. So I remember when the asthma started, my mother was taking me to Silver Cap. There was a herbalist in the bush somewhere, an old man, and she was taking me there to get some medicine for me. And on the way, I couldn't breathe. And she was dragging me on the floor, and people were asking, Mama, why are you doing this to this child? But she didn't really care. She dragged me until we got there, and then the herbalist said, oh, she has this, and she couldn't breathe, she couldn't walk, and all that. So I started treatment for asthma, which was not a fun thing. Remember, all my sisters were loved. They were all having their time as, having a family. But for me, I felt like I was adopted. I felt like I didn't belong. I felt like somebody who was not supposed to be there. And I saw myself as somebody I was very strong though. I was very strong. If you talk about fight, I was fighting. I was a fighter. I will fight men. If somebody touches any of my siblings, I will go and fight them. Sometimes I will fight, they will give me a bite with the mark is still there, and I wouldn't even feel it because I was so determined to protect my other siblings. And for my mom, the only time she really needed me or would look for me was when she needed me to go and fight somebody, you know. So it was painful. When I go out, nobody will look for me. But in the midst of all that, there was some inner peace in me, a desire that, you know, I can be somebody somewhere. I can be loved, but I couldn't find the love. So we moved from Kokomlemle to Dansuman, and then I went to secondary school, St. John's Grammar School, but I started in T.I. Amadia Ekumfi for 1 year, you know, and then I moved to St. John's Grammar School, Form 2. So in my early days in the Form 1, I felt so rejected that I tried to commit suicide. And this was when we were in Dansuman. Whenever my mom is talking to my siblings, anytime I get there, she will stop talking. And then, you know, everybody will give me a look. And I felt like, what am I doing here? Maybe I'm not supposed to be here. So my father had a medicine chest, and I went into the medicine chest. He had medicine for so many things like rheumatism, I mean, you know, a lot of things. So one day I went in there and counted about 34 drugs. And I said to myself, nobody cares whether I'm dead or alive. As a matter of fact, my father did not also care, you know, so I wasn't receiving love from any of them. And I swallowed all the medicine. I didn't write any note because I didn't feel like it was necessary. But later on during the day, my mother came and she asked them to call me so that I can come and do my usual, which is to cook, because I was the cleaner in the house. I was the cook. I mean, everything. I was the one who was weeding. I mean, every job in the house was basically on me. So when they woke me up, I got up, but I was dizzy. The ground was like this height. I couldn't see anything. So she took me to Dr. Beecham in Sahara. And then Dr. Beecham asked me why I did what I did. And I told him that I feel like nobody cares about me, and I just wanted to end everything. Maybe I'll find peace in that. So he spoke to me, and he spoke to my mom. But they didn't give me any medicines because he said, you already have enough medicine in you. He spoke to my mom and we went home. But the abuse, the rejection, it didn't stop. The pain didn't even stop after that. It rather became worse. And everybody was insulting me because I did what I did, you know. I still felt the pain, but my whole skin became very dark. I became very black because if it is today, they would have given me charcoal, and that would have brought, you know, the toxin, taking out the medicine. But at that time, they did not give me anything. So my body had to do the work itself. I didn't understand what I was going through at that time. So I moved out, I grew out of that. But in Dansuman too, I had a lot of challenges. Whenever there is trouble in the house, it looks like everybody points it to me. Still the rejection and everything. But I went to secondary school and I finished by the grace of God. In secondary school too, I did not do well. I mean, seriously, I did not do well. I did not do well. But I thank God for everything. Today, I understand. I'm here to encourage something. I'm telling you this because I want you to understand that it doesn't matter how you start, how you end is the most important thing. I was seen as somebody, I don't even know, the books was not my friend, though I loved literature. I love to keep the stories. I can follow them. But looking at my grades at the end of secondary school, it was bad. But God turned everything around and he put me in honor roll. So I'm here to tell you, it doesn't matter what you are going through now. You might be struggling through something, but that is not who you are. Trust in the Lord. Believe in him. Even when I was going through all that pain, there was something in me that was driving me to know the Lord. But my challenge was that when I was in secondary school, the SU people, they were not appealing to me at all. And, I didn't have much. So I thought, I don't have much. My two clothes, if I wear it and, rock in it and everything, I was thinking, why should I just follow the SU people? Because they were just too spiritual for me. Come on now. They were just too spiritual. And I wanted to serve the Lord and I wanted to also have life. So every time I hear the gospel music, I will cry. I wanted to give my life to Jesus, but the resistance. So by the grace of God, when I completed secondary school in 1985, we had a friend in our area who was really a top guy. And then we heard that he has accepted Jesus as his Lord and personal Savior. I wanted to hear more about it. So that was in 1986, August. He invited us to fellowship, and we went to the fellowship. But as soon as we got there, I knew that I wanted to be here. I gave my life to Jesus. My older sister gave her life to Jesus. Then we moved on to another phase of our lives. I moved to another phase of my life, which was now we have become born again, living with parents who did not really know the Lord. It was very difficult. Before you will even go to school, because I did not do well in secondary school, they enrolled me in, we first moved to some school B, I don't even remember, Achibusco, I think, somebody who has finished secondary school. My father took us to Achibusco. We weren't attending classes with them. We were just in the dormitory, and then they'll come and call us, give us some teachings on the side, how to write shorthand and all that. You can imagine how shameful it was, but we had to swallow that. So at that place, we met a teacher who was a born-again teacher, and she spoke to us because at that time I was born again. And she told us about Sakiado and, secretarial school. So we moved to Sakiado Secretarial School, which is also in Adabraka. I think everything is around Adabraka. What a blessing, huh? So, by the grace of God, we pulled through. There was a time that I was so sick. For 1 week, I did not go to school. And my thing was, even if I don't go to school or does not attend classes because I had a boil and it was so huge, I couldn't go to school, I was still studying at night. So I'll take my Bible, I'll pray and study for an hour, and then I will also do my, shorthand for an hour. So I felt like God was teaching me in a way. So one time, after a week of staying home, I went to school, and the instructor said, unfortunately, you have not been here for a week, but it doesn't excuse you. We have a test, a quiz today, and you have to take it. So I said, okay. And then, for shorthand, you cannot cheat because you hear, you write. So he started, dictating. And I was just going so fast. When we finished everything, he came back to say, this is strange. He can't understand it, because how can somebody who has been home for 1 week be the one to head the class? I was the one who had the highest mark in the class. Then I realized that coming to Jesus was an amazing, or is an amazing thing. Beloved, I have never regretted giving my life to Jesus. Though the journey has been very difficult, but the blessings, the peace, and all the things that he gives to us makes me know that I have made the right decision, because he said, I'll never leave you, I'll never forsake you. So throughout the journey in school, I met somebody, because we were in the Methodist church, Mount Olivet Methodist Church. And then we moved to the charismatic church to become born again. But my father said, if we don't go back to Mount Olivet, he's not going to take care of us. And it was so bad that my mother did not allow the pastors to even come home to help us grow in our new faith. Whenever they come, she'll tell them, if they come, she'll pour urine on them. And sometimes when we go for fellowship, my mom will come to the fellowship ground and she will pull us out of the place. So my mom was a very strong woman. And she means what she says. If she says this, that is what it is. And you have to go by her rules. And sometimes she will tell us, you will not eat until you do your chores. Even when you are done with your chores and you go to fellowship, she'll still come and get you. So we decided to leave the charismatic church and go back to Mount Olivet. Oh, what a joy. When we got there, I joined the youth fellowship, and I realized that it was the same thing we were doing in the charismatic church. You know, we were praying in tongues, doing everything. And I joined Olivet Voices. Though my voice was not the best, but I really desired to sing, because when I was going through the pain from the early stage of my life, one of the things that comforted me was when I sing, I feel the peace and everything, or I felt the peace of God, you know, in the singing and everything. So music meant so much to me, and it still does today. So I joined Olivet Voices. I did not really have the voice to sing, but the desire was there. So I was at the back. And then one day, we went for rehearsals, and this was how it was at that time. If you go to rehearsal, you sing. But we had some lead singers. For them, whether they come or not, they will sing, but we were backing. So, you have to be there to sing. But one of the things I was doing was, those days there was a bush part. And whenever I'm coming to church, I'll be singing in the bush, and then, doing all my rehearsal in the bush alone and everything. And there was this choir director, he would tell me to eat charcoal and all those things. Anything you tell me to eat to better my voice at that time, I will do. Then one day, we went to youth fellowship. On my way home, I was so excited that anytime we closed from fellowship, I would talk to everyone. By the time I realized, everyone was gone. And all those who were going to run about had gone. Those who were moving through the path that I had to take, it was a bushy path, they were all gone. And it started drizzling. And I was alone, and I was going. Then all of a sudden, I saw a gentleman coming towards me from, my direction. And when I saw him, I realized that he was going to do something to me. But I didn't have the choice of going back, because there was nobody there. So I had to move forward. So when I was so close to the church, there was a church, the Baptist church, he pushed me and he started choking me. He pushed so hard that I couldn't breathe. And I was screaming like, how a goat or something like, But I lifted my eyes and I saw a gentleman coming. And I was thinking, is he part of the people who wanted to kill me? He wanted to drag me into the bush, because in those days they were raping people in the bush. So I saw the gentleman coming towards where I was. And because I was struggling and I was trying to set myself free. He came there, and as soon as the guy saw him, he jumped into the bush, and then the gentleman came and lifted me, and he took me to the church. By the grace of God, when I got to the church, I had some classmates and friends in there. They were seeking shelter because of the rain, and they took me home. My neck was stiff for over a week. I went to the doctor and everything, and by God's grace, I got healed. So let's move back to when I joined the Olivet Voices. I was in the back, but one day we went for rehearsal. And when we went for the rehearsal, they said tomorrow they will be having, a wedding. There will be a wedding ceremony. But I just have to sing. The lead singer will be singing the next day when she comes. I didn't feel like it was a bad thing. At least it was an opportunity to also do something for the Lord. But as soon as I took the mic, the Spirit of God just took over. And it was something else. So as soon as I finished, they said, tomorrow you'll be singing at the wedding. So we went to the wedding the next day. And as I took the mic, I was shivering. I was like shaking like this because I've never held a mic before. And there were people from far away running in to see what was going on. So that is how God lifted me in my singing career. And I became the lead singer. Though I didn't have the best voice, but I was, still in the front until I left for the United States in 1992. So we had fathers in the church, and one of them was Brother Dan Cedar. And I mentioned him, he's late, but I add him to my testimony because he helped me a lot. In the midst of all the rejection and everything, he loved me. He helped me. He made me know that I am important. He gave me money. Whenever I needed something, he was right there to, provide. And when it got to the time that I was going to get married, he knew somebody in the United States, so he introduced me to my husband now. I did not know him, never met him, but through the introduction, we started talking. Though the conversation was not moving as it should, but by the grace of God, we got married. And then in 1992, I joined my husband in the United States. When I got to the US, the challenge was not over. To find myself was another challenge. So I just want to say something that God has done, and I'm very happy before we continue with our journey in the United States. When I was a baby, through Revelation, when I was 3 to 4 months old, because my parents did not really want me, they brought a herbalist or somebody who can see the future of a child. And when he came, he did something to me, took all my glory, took everything from me. So all the challenges I was going through, I was rejected. I've had great people coming into my life. But because of what they did to me, nobody really saw any need to help me. But I thank God that one too, Jesus has delivered me from it. And I am not the same person anymore. I went to join my husband, and then I had the call to go to the Bible school. My husband said he wasn't going to allow me to go to the Bible school because, if you join your husband, he's hoping that you come and do something that will help him financially. And I was working in the hospital, so I had the opportunity of becoming a nurse if I wanted to. So my husband said, at that time, IT was raining. So he said, it's either you become you get into computers or be a nurse. And I said, no, I want to be in ministry, in the ministry. And he said, no. So I went to the computer school in Nova, the community college. And to tell you the truth, when I went to the community college, this is when I found out that I wasn't who people said I was. Because remember, I've already mentioned that when I was in secondary school, I did not do well. My grades were very bad. It was not something to celebrate, But when I went to Nova, you have to do the English placement test. And when I finished the test, the instructor said, excellent. She put me at the toppest, English 111, the toppest. That is where she put me. I cried because this is somebody who has failed GCE. This is somebody who did not do well, in my secondary, GCE thing. But secretarial school was awesome. And then when I got to the US, God made me know that I can do more with my life. So I enrolled into the IT. Still, anytime I go to class, I'll hear a voice telling me, you don't belong here. But my husband says I belong there. So I will just obey and just go with the flow. But then one day, I heard the instructor saying that we are going to have a test. And with this test, you have to be here around 11 a.m. I heard it very well. So I got to the class at 11. When I got there, everybody was there. And they were writing the exams. They started at 9 a.m. And I told the instructor, you said 11. He said, no, 9. You have 1 hour. If you can finish it, take it. I did what I could do. I went home and I told my husband, this is what I've been hearing. I don't belong there. And even now, the final result, it's like I needed to get out of that place. So finally he agreed and said I should go to the Bible school. I started with the Baptist seminary. When I went there, every time they say something, I will also tell them what I know with the Word of God. And then they'll tell me, Rita, remember you are in the Baptist seminary. So I told my husband, I think I need to move from there also. So I went to National Bible College, which is in Maryland, in the United States. And when I went there by the grace of God, everything was fine. I graduated with honors and everything. Then I helped my husband moving from one ministry to another. I have helped so many pastors. A lot of men and women of God have lived with me. But all that time, I have finished Bible school, but I wasn't a pastor. I was still doing my job. Then one day, we were in the Bible school, and then one of the instructors said to my husband and I. So my husband joined me in the Bible school, and that was a testimony because somebody who did not want me to go to the Bible school, now he's in the Bible school with me. And today, as I speak, he's a bishop, to the glory of God, and he takes care of the church. I love to travel, so you can see that it is the plan of God. But in the Bible school, we were still struggling because we were moving from one place to the other because, we had lost what we started and everything. So one day we were in class, and then the instructor told us, he said, God has called you. You know what you have to do. You are running away. You need to do the needful, what God wants you to do. And we looked at each other and we said to ourselves, we don't have money. We don't have anybody to help us. We don't have the connection. We have nobody. So from there, the church that we were in, we went there after we had lost the church we started. And when we got there, we told the pastor that we are here to help. We have a calling. At the right time, if God calls us, we will be leaving. But when we went and told him that we are leaving, he didn't take it for granted. All hell broke loose. Everybody started attacking us. The pain, the shame, the disgrace. It was bad. It was terrible. I just want to use this again as an opportunity to talk to men of God. Please, God has a destiny and a purpose for everyone. So if somebody is with you and God is calling the person, please support them, help them. Because even with the ministry of Jesus, they were all over the place. And that is how the church started. It is not just one. We don't have any one-man church anywhere. Jesus started as one person, and it became multitudes. We are all connected to the vine. Please, don't put pain or put people who are called down. It is not good. Please, release people and help them, and let them mention your names when they are gone and they are flourishing, so that brotherly love and the work of God can continue, because the harvest is plenty, but the laborers are few. So after everything, I left with my husband, and we said to ourselves, we don't want anybody from that church to follow us. We started in our basement. But before we started, every Sunday, instead of us starting, we will go to another church to visit and, test the waters and see if we will find something. But everywhere we went, we did not find peace. People did not accept us. So I have a very good friend of mine who is a reverend minister now, Reverend Michael, my brother. He called us, my husband and I, and he said, if God has called you, then go ahead and start. Why are you running around and going everywhere? So we listened. And then the two of us in our basement, we started. Every Sunday, I'll preach to my husband. I'll lead a praise and worship, preach to him. The next Sunday, he will also preach to me. And it was the two of us until my brother, Reverend Michael, at that time, he was living with us, but he was also supporting the church we had left. So he wasn't fully with us. So he would come and help us a little bit, and then he would go. But he was living with us. So at a point, we started growing. And then when we got to 7, a pastor visited us. And even with the 7, he came and stole some. You can imagine the pain again. I'll be standing in the window every day, praying that people will come. I had friends who promised me, when you start a church, I'll come. I know the hand of God is upon you. But beloved, when it comes to ministry, it is not about family. It is not about friends. It is about what God has said. You need God to connect you to the right people. Most of my friends, even up till now, has not even visited my church. So you can see, you need to depend on the Lord. You need to trust in him. You need to rely on him. And you need to hold on to his word, because he is the one who has called you. And he said, I will build my church. The gates of hell shall not prevail. So we started growing, and we moved out of the basement and we went to the school. I'm a little quiet. The pain at the school. We grew. We became about 150. And at that point, we weren't allowing people to come out from outside to visit, preachers. We weren't doing that. But some people in the church said, other churches are having visiting preachers and everything. So we need to also do that. This is my testimony, beloved. We brought a woman. I will not mention her name. She was introduced to us by one of the members. This woman came to the church. She preached for about 2 or 3 times. But the pain this woman caused to us, she scattered the church. Everybody left. We were left with 15 people from 150. We were left with 15 people. She was doing so many things that did not sit well with us. And when we told her, she went lying, telling people things. And then she ended up by saying she would kill my husband and I. They were casting spells, doing witchcraft, doing everything. She told people that if I tell somebody they will die, they die. So everybody was waiting for her demise. I couldn't go out. I couldn't go to the shop because every time you get there, there'll be people pointing fingers at you, saying you are cursed, saying so many things. But in the midst of all that, God visited us again. And we moved from the school, and he gave us a place. And out of the 15, he gave us a beautiful place, a big place, which we are still at today. I started traveling, holding crusades, conferences, going to the north, helping the needy. And that has been my passion. And I still do it today. And I love to do it. It has given me so much peace. God has blessed my husband and I with 2 beautiful children and 3 grandchildren. We are blessed. The ministry is still going on. But there is one thing I want to tell parents. Please, no matter what you go through, don't put the pain on your children. Because part of my challenges and my struggle in life was from when my mother conceived me. The rejection started from there. And it followed me until I came to know Jesus. I had vitiligo. This is the vitiligo. It is on my lips. When you look at my feet and some part of my body, it is still there. And it happened after Form 5, secondary school. When I completed secondary school, this sickness started. Whenever it hits one place, it will keep spreading. So my ears were white. My lips were white. I had patches. And people, when I go to Accra, people will come out and they will look at me. And with all this and what I was going through, you can just imagine. This sickness has no cure. No doctor can help you with vitiligo. But when I came to know Jesus, I prayed to him and I said, please heal me. One day I heard him saying, I have healed you. I obeyed and I took the word. As a teenager, I took all the money I had on me. I went to the Methodist church, put it in the offering bowl. I didn't even write my name, but I said, Father, thank you for healing me. And from that day, the pigment started coming back. My ears became dark again. All the places where people will see and they'll look at it, the pigment came back. But for this, it is for you to know that Jesus is still the healer. He has done it for me. I don't know what you are going through. He will do it for you. The asthma also vanished. He healed me. All the boils that I was getting, he healed me. As a matter of fact, he healed me. He set me free. One of the things that I had to do after my born again journey was genuinely forgiving my mother. Because when I was growing up, one of the things I said to myself is that when I grow up and I get money, I will pepper this woman. And I really wanted to do it. I wanted to get money to show her. But when I became born again, God told me to forgive her. And this is how that happened. We went to, a program, and God said, see Brother Bernard, let him pray with you. At that time, my very good friend, which I will not go into details, was Bernard. We were all over the place together. So I said, but this guy knows me very well. So why do you want me to go to? He knows my story. So, when the closing prayer was being said, they said, when they had to say the closing prayer, they said, we asked Brother Bernard to pray. And then I realized that there was another Bernard at that place. So he said, as soon as I started talking, he said, it's okay, just say, Father, I forgive my mother. I kept saying it until all the pain came out of my heart. And then I felt so light. And then from that day until today, the love for my mom has been awesome. I love my mom. I would do anything for my mom. She just passed some few months ago in this year, August 9th, my mom passed. And I came to bury her. But I wish she had lived longer because I wanted to do more for her. You can forgive regardless of what you have gone through. Whatever people have done to you, use it as a stepping stone to move forward in life. Learn to love people and learn to trust in the one who has called you because he is faithful. Everything he has said about your destiny, he will fulfill it in his own time. Nothing can stop God from doing what he has said about